a guy named Kurt. Kurt, I've asked you to unmute yourself.
Oh, Kurt.
Hey, buddy. Good to see you.
Oh, good to see
You
you.
know, I just appreciate, you put a language, this is my experience, probably a lot of people in the room, but you put a language to experiences most of us already have. You really articulate, what's already been happening with a lot of people, and it puts all the pegs in the right hole for me.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say was that thing I tell people a lot when you talk about fear, I use that fear of false evidence appearing real. But
Yeah.
and it's like, well, wasn't it because self-reliance failed? And I always say to people, what's self-reliance failing? For me I was identified with the God of reason. I thought I was my thinking. And I, like the other part of fear, like I love this when you say most people's fear isn't fear, it's anxiety. And the fear, I remember reading Krishnamurti one time said, when you're in a forest and a bear attacks you, he said, that's not fear. He said, that is the highest form of human intelligence. And you don't have to think about it. It's just happens. Like, that's the highest form of self-preservation, intelligence. And when I heard that, and then I heard you say, most people say, oh, I have all this fear. It really isn't fear. It is mental anxiety. It's like, oh shit, what's going to happen tomorrow? Oh, what's going to happen next week? What's going to, So I just really appreciate your language, your gift of articulation, your presence, and I just really enjoyed getting to know you. So thanks, Paul. Not much of a question there, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for you. Hey, yeah, I like this statement on page 53. We haven't gone to it in a while. In We Agnostics. It's because, see, it's not the thoughts. The thoughts are used to produce the anxiety, but it's the faith that completes it, yeah? In other words, there's faith in the thoughts. There's faith that I could possibly be screwed next week. And that faith is based on a sense of not being here, even though you are, yeah? So I want to read this thing because it's I feel an underappreciated part of the book. It comes out of the We Agnostic chapter, and it's at the bottom of page 53. And he talks about, I'm going to go to the last sentence. It goes, without knowing it. Isn't this the case for most of us? We come into recovery and we learn what shit was going on without us knowing it, yeah? A light is brought into our experience by shared identification with people, yeah? And then we can recognize through the we what's taken us over, yeah? So it goes, without knowing it, had we not been brought to where we stood by a certain kind of faith, yeah? So just as an example, if I am in next week right now, I've been brought there by a certain kind of faith in the failed thought system. Yeah? The thoughts are about next week, and I feel like I'm there, and like Helen said, it's about next week, but I feel the effects now in the body. Exactly. Yeah? That's being produced by faith. Yeah? And faith is going to manifest by what's directing the faith. Now we have seen faith in our life being directed by the self, yeah, by the failed mechanism. We've seen it. We didn't know what was going on, but we've been at the effect of it. And now some of us, through sobriety, are now at the effect of faith in something infinite, yeah, which gives us an immunity to all the mental anxieties because what's happening overrides what's not happening. which is the norm, basically. It's really being established like when in a childlike condition where what's happening overrides what's not happening. As the mental state grew and the addiction grew, what's not happening overrides what's happening for many people. And it's all rooted in faith, really. Faith, or as he says, trust. So when the trust or faith is in the finite self, we are at the effect of what's not happening more than what's happening. When that faith is in trusting something infinite, we're at the effects of what's happening overriding what's not happening. That's really the change, truly. That's the fundamental change. Yeah? When we're addicted, when the self has us, we are reacting to what's not happening. When we're under the direction of the higher power, we have been established in that position of turning one's will and life over to the care of that. Yeah, we now have an immunity to what's not happening, and we are in what's happening. Yeah, which doesn't take any thought or effort because it's happening. The real thought and effort, especially the thought, and I would say thought and effort combined with faith, is about what's not happening. To override what's happening, there's a lot of faith involved. There really is, because what's not happening has one big glaring hole. It's not happening. There's something happening already that I'm feeling, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching right now, and I would think that has enough oomph to override what's not happening. But faith can change that. So faith in the failed system allows us to be captured by mostly what's not happening. We live in interpretation instead of a life, yeah? And this whole program is to move away from that failed system of trusting something finite to trusting something infinite. The one commonality is trust, is faith. Faith is the key. Faith in a failed system allows it to produce tons of anxiety and false evidence that appears real, tons of shit. It can't do it itself. There has to be faith put in it, yeah? And the same faith will trigger the availability of the higher power, which is always available, but we can live as if that's not so. So the faith in trusting something infinite triggers the obviousness of that. So there's two totally parallel different things, finite self and infinite, but the same emphasis is there, faith. Faith in one or faith in the other. The faith is the same. It's what it's put in that causes its effects. The faith is the same. It's what it's put in that causes its effects. Yeah? If it's put in the finite self, what's not happening becomes dominant. If it's put in the infinite, what's happening stays exactly in its dominant condition. Yeah? So I want to just finish it because it goes more into this. So without knowing it, had we not been brought to where we stood by a certain kind of faith? Yeah, faith in a finite fucking self. Faith in a failed system of reason and thought, all right? For did we not believe in our own reasoning? So there you went. So yeah, we have great faith in our reasoning. Did we not have confidence in our ability to think? What was that but a sort of faith? Exactly. Yes, we had been faithful, abjectly faithful. I mean, there's an extreme amount of faith in a failed system. And we are an incredible demonstration of the effects of that. We are exceedingly obsessed with self. That's what an alcoholic and an addict is. Exceedingly obsessed. So the faith has gone to the 10th degree. Look at it. Look at the effect. So it says, yes, we have been faithful, abjectly faithful to the God of reason. So in one way or another, we discovered that faith had been involved all the time. All, right now, it's involved. Right at this very second. Yeah? And it's not a faith, it's not Christianity or Muslim, it's faith. It's a force of mind. As Jesus says, faith the size of a mustard seed can fucking move mountains. Exactly. We move mountains. We make mountains out of molehills. Yeah? We don't even have to move the mountain. We just see a molehill and we make it a mountain. We're making shit out of nothing all day. I mean, talk about faith. I mean, we're miracle workers. But look at what the miracles is directed by and what is it directed to. It pays homage to an idea of you, yeah, that you'll never fucking outgrow. Yeah. That same faith put into the higher power through the mechanism of the program will bring an ease and comfort to your day now. Yeah? You'll travel lighter now. It doesn't say everything's going to get great, but you're going to travel lighter through whatever life has in store for you. What more do you want? And you can be established in that. It's not based on, oh, I did a lot of breathing exercises today, I did this and that. No, it becomes an established fact of traveling lighter. What more do you want? So, yeah, thank you. Yes.
Thanks a lot.